being here with us today. My name is Paola Guthrie from Creating Purpose with Pao. Allow me to welcome you to Spanglish World Network and Heart Network on Single TV channels 250 and 251. I would love to invite you to download the Zingo TV app on the respective app store. While you download it, please make sure that you rate it and you leave a comment for us because feedback is so important to us. We want to do an awesome job for all of you. So the app is totally free. You can find Single TV in Google Chromecast, Amazon Fire, Fire TV Stick, Roku Sticks, and all smart TVs from 2016 forward. So allow me to welcome this beautiful soul that is here to share her story. Her name is Helen Lee Moon. She is a beautiful high performance coach for professional women. She inspires women to go from fine to flourishing. So thank you for being here, Helen.
Hi,
Yay!
Pao. Good to be here.
Oh, I'm so excited that you're here to share with us your secret to go from fine to flourishing. So please share with us a little bit, about yourself so we get to know you more.
Awesome. So let me start by asking this to you and to your audience, this question. So if I met you on the street and asked, how are you? What would be your response?
Fine.
I Knowing you, you'll probably say something different, but I know that most of you listening and watching without even thinking would probably and automatically say something like, I'm fine, I'm good, or even like, or I'm okay. But would you be happy just being fine and okay for the next 5, 10, 20 years or more? And I know that I haven't met most of you, obviously, because this is a live TV show. And I already know we have this in common. We all want to be more than just fine. And we want to live an energetic, empowered, and exciting life that we love. And the reality is, though, you're currently just settling for being fine. And you know deep down that something isn't right. And you want things to be much better, but you don't really do anything about it. And I call this being in the I'm fine club. And I can go into more into this, what I mean by this later in the show. And so as a high performance coach, what I do is I offer a one-on-one personalized coaching program for high achieving women to focus on energy, mindset, and the life design principle to redesign your life so that you can go from just being fine to flourishing, so that we can no longer settle for fine. So today I want to invite you to put on a big, big smile, watch and listen to this show with actively listen and even take notes, because you'll walk away with some actionable key steps to kickstart your journey from fine to flourishing.
Yes. So how do you know, how do you know that you belong to the fine club, and how can we upgrade to the flourishing club?
Yeah, so I was a loyal member of the I'm Fine Club. So whoever are listening that feel like, ooh, when she said that, I know I'm kind of in the I'm Fine Club. Don't worry, because I was there too. And so my story goes back to when I was working on Wall Street. I was working on Wall Street for 11 years, and the last 8 years at Goldman Sachs, which is one of the top tier investment banks in New York City, if for those of you that don't know. And I knew deep down there's a yearning that I wanted to do something more artistic in my career. So I made a bold move, a career change to become a chef, because I've always loved cooking and I wanted to become a professional chef to do fine dining. So what I did was I resigned from my career and I went to culinary school, and I had an exhilarating career as a cook. So I graduated top of my class in culinary school. I got to cook at 3 different Michelin restaurants in New York City, and I also got to cook for the Winter Olympics in 2018 with a select group of small team, and went to my birth country in South Korea to cook for the Winter Olympics. And it was such an exhilarating experience, and I loved it. And at the same time, I knew quickly that this new career as a chef wasn't going to be sustainable, because there's so many little and big issues that happened. First was my physical body. The work pressure and the amount of work in these high kitchens were so intense that I had all these joint pains, and I ended up weighing only 97 pounds at one point. That's like my high school weight or less. And I went to cooking to eat the delicious food, but we're so busy that we barely had time to eat. and sleep. So I was always exhausted and always also so competitive because I started my career in my early 30s while my colleagues were early 20s. So I wanted to be the best. I wanted to succeed, and that I learned that I didn't like who I was becoming. So I had a deep look into what I was doing. So I took a career break, an intentional career break, and I really started working on my health again, getting my energy back, and also making sure my mindset is empowering instead of always being on the victim mode. And I also learned some life design. Methodology to really reinvent myself and redesign my life. And I also even added the spiritual side of me, and I became a baptized Christian as well. So a lot of the different things that happened while I was going through the career transitions and the exciting careers I've had, I was able to just go from just being fine to one and going for just being fine to flourishing. And I knew what that flourishing meant. It wasn't like a destination that I knew, like, oh, I know I'm flourishing. It was like a gradual process that I knew I was flourishing. And by flourishing, I mean you are excited and purposeful, and you know your identity, and you know what you want in life. And flourishing doesn't mean that you life is perfect. Of course, there's challenges. I have my limiting beliefs too, but there's a bigger picture, and you know that life is happening for you.
Yeah. Awesome. That's amazing. I mean, it's so impressive, listening to your story, because to me it sounds like a movie. You are in Wall Street. You know what I mean? It's like you're probably living somebody else's dream already, working for the most famous, important, prestige bank.
Mhm.
And somehow you feel like you no longer belong there. That is no longer your purpose.
Mhm.
So I love, like how you're inviting other women to be like, you know what, there's sometimes that we need to learn to let go of those dreams that we had at one point,
Yes,
and you serve your purpose, and then it's time to take a turn. What's next? Who else do you need to serve next? And
exactly.
you follow your passion, and you went to school to become a chef, and you serve high qualified people as a chef. And I'm pretty sure, it was part of your passion. You enjoyed it until it came a time where you said, okay, I'm not longer enjoying this
Yeah.
time of my life. And
Yeah.
right here is like that's beautiful, how you had the awareness, to make this shift, because not all of us do. I remember 5 years ago, I was in that club, and I felt like I was just surviving. And how could you tell our beautiful audience today, like what it's like what are some of the signs that they're in the fine club? Like for me, and I remember I used to say, oh, I'm just surviving, with a smile. And I was literally surviving. I didn't know that language mattered back then.
Mhm.
So I would say, and I felt like I just had a new baby. So I was like, oh, I'm just surviving, and what are some of the habits that we have in that fine club that you could
Yes.
share with us?
Yes. So being in the I'm Fine Club, there's usually some signs. So on the outside, for example, for me in my career on Wall Street, and even when I was a chef, on the outside, I looked, everything was quote unquote perfect. We know that perfect is the lowest standard, but to everyone else just looking at me, they didn't know that I was not really happy with my career. I knew something, but it wasn't like something was really wrong with my life. Things were great, but it wasn't great as I know I can be. I wasn't at that potential. And there's three questions that I want you, everyone listening and watching, to ask yourself. So one, do you lack the energy to accomplish the things you want and need? Two, it is, are you held back by your worry or your anxiety instead of living with confidence and with certainty? And number three is, do you feel stuck and frustrated about your career and your overall life direction instead of having the clarity and the excitement? These are some of the questions I would like to ask.
That is so good. Did you lack the energy,
Mhm.
to do what you like to do, to get your tasks done? 'Cause sometimes we're just barely hanging in there. So that's a sign that we're in the fine club. And then the second one, are we living with worry and anxiety?
Yes.
Like, ask yourself this question. Sometimes when, the anxiety is the future. We're living in the future. Is so, we're like expressing the anxiety because our mind is in the future.
Yes.
Sometimes sadness, that means we're in the past, right? Like we're living an old experience and we're reliving it in our mind.
Yeah.
Uh,
Especially, I would add that the high performers usually tend to focus on the future more
more.
than more. So they live with this anxiety and worry because they're not sure. They have these big dreams, but they don't know if that's going to happen. So they live with that anxiety and uncertainty.
And then stuck in like frustration is
Hmm.
also then, yeah, or because you probably want to be farther ahead, or you thought this is something I bring a lot whenever I'm having either a training or a conversation. Is like sometimes when we're younger,
Hmm.
in our mind we create our future and we think how the future will look like, and then we get to our adulthood and we look at the future we created and we look it upside down and it's like, okay, it doesn't look like what I'm living right now. It doesn't look like my reality. And we feel stuck and we feel frustrated because we thought life was going to be a certain way, and whenever we match our reality, we feel that frustration. So that means that we it's time for us to recreate, right, our new
Yes.
destination.
Exactly. And if you can relate to any of these three questions and you said yes, you may be a member of the I'm Fine Club, as we talked about. But there's a good news. You can decide today to leave it because you know there's a higher standard for you that you know you're born with. You know that you're designed for, and God made you to become this woman or man or person that you want to become.
So, how could you advise us today, to go from the fine club to the
Mhm.
flourishing club? What are some of the steps that we might begin taking?
Yes. So to everyone, the term flourishing could be different. It could be your own version, and to give you a general idea to help your audience is flourishing is an entirely different and an unparalleled way of living than just settling for fine. So you're happy, grateful, and excited about your life, and you are purposeful, and you live with coherency, and you live in alignment with what you want, and you're also fulfilled because you continue to grow and contribute to a meaningful life that you love. And in order to get to this flourishing club, there's three pillars that I came up with. It's called the R3 pillars. And the first pillar is reignite your energy. And then the second pillar is reframe your story. And then the third pillar is redesign your life. So I can go into what each means. So the first
Yes, please.
pillar,
So, yes.
yeah. So the first pillar is all about energy, and reigniting your energy really comes first because, like I said, from my story, I had all the passion, I had all the energy, not the energy, but I had all the passion to kickstart my new career as a chef. I was so excited. But as I continue on with the difficult career as a chef, working in these high intensity kitchens, I quickly realized I was lacking the energy and the health to support myself. So the passion quickly became very unsustainable.
So
Yeah.
we need to keep an eye on that then. If we're not energized, if we don't feel that we're living that moment meaningfully,
Yeah.
so we're staying in the fine club. And we don't
Mhm.
want to stay in the fine club because we want to be happy, grateful. We want to live life purpose hang on, purposefully. We want to have meaning in our life.
Mhm.
So reignite your energy is important. Do
Yes.
you have a few examples of how we could reignite the energy?
Yes. So, three key things that I find the most impactful. for your energy is first, movement is really key. Movement doesn't necessarily mean exercise. Of course, if you love exercise, if you can get in exercise, awesome. But movement is just getting up when after a few minutes of working, and you see a rebounder behind me, you can get on that rebounder every few hours. Let's say if you're working on your computer, just movement and walking around the apartment, walking around your house, walking at your backyard. Just a lot of movement creates that energy. And second,
Dancing your favorite song.
exactly, dancing, anything that you can get movement in is so key to get your energy back. And second is quality sleep. This is something I'm still working on too. It's one of the things that I need to continue to improve on. And quality sleep is, are you getting 7 hours or more of sleep each day? And is it at a consistent time? And do you wake up at the consistent time? That is so key. People, so for example, as top performers and high achievers, I know that work usually comes first. I was like that in my 20s, and sleep I ignored so much. I was like, oh, I can sleep when I'm older, or I'll catch up on sleep this weekend. But it catches up on you, and there's so much study now of how important sleep is in your life, and how it's related to even weight loss and cognitive, all the cognitive, what do you say, like all
Yeah,
the,
yeah, cognitively, yes, your
yeah,
memory, your
exactly.
levels of concentration, your creativity.
Hmm.
You know, your brain cleans itself at nighttime and it
Yes,
heals itself. So it's like it's an opportunity to regenerate new cells to get rid of whatever our body doesn't need. And it gives us energy at the beginning of the day, because if we
exactly,
have a well rested night, then we're more likely to get up, with an
exactly,
optimism and start
exactly.
the day.
Thank you. And then the third one for reigniting your energy is eating nutritious foods. Yes, of course, we all know this, but I know not everyone tries to eat nutritiously. So one suggestion I could make is, instead of trying to not eat something because no one wants to get taken anything away, just add more things, add more healthy things into your daily diet. Drink more water, add more, eat another scoop of salad or leaf, or eat something additional to what you're already eating. You don't need to change anything, just add in something healthier.
Yes, I love that. One of the things that the work as well is like, if you start the day with your morning routine, if you can make it a healthy one, could be a
Yes,
smoothie, could be a healthy breakfast. And then if you can make a healthy lunch,
right.
then half of the day is yours. You won half of the day.
Yes.
And that gives you, the awareness that you had a good lunch, good breakfast, for dinner.
Mm-hmm.
You can have a little bit of variety. So
Exactly.
yes, it is important. The movement, I mean, movement creates energy, like you
Mm-hmm.
were saying, and it changes our state. you
Yes,
know
absolutely.
your brain oxygenates, and it allows for you to feel much better when we move.
Mm-hmm.
Add on top of that, make sure that we're eating healthy and sleeping plenty
And
of
then
time.
water.
Yes, I have my water over here too.
Cheers.
Cheers. Yes. Mm. So this is absolutely great to bring the awareness for all of you, that are out there just surviving, because I was one of them. I was one of them that lived in the fine club for years.
Mm-hmm.
And even 5 years ago, I remember that phrase. And I would, you would go to family gathering or friends, and you're like, oh, I'm just surviving. And sometimes we try to play it low, which we
Mm-hmm.
try to play it where you don't want to sound like, oh, you're improving, because you might make other feel uncomfortable. But it's like, watch your language. This
Mm-hmm.
is another thing that I learned, because I used to say, oh, I'm just fine. And if you're just fine, that's what you're telling your brain to do. Just
Exactly.
being fine. So this is something that came back to me today. I was like, oh wow, the language that I used back there was putting me in the situation that I was speaking. So try not to be fine, say I am flourishing. Yes, as you're moving, Like you're
Yes.
adopting new beautiful habits that is going to take you, to a higher level. And
Hmm.
it's nothing, it's nothing to feed your ego at all.
Hmm.
This TV show is not about feeding your ego. This TV show is about to bring awareness for you to improve in a healthy way, in a way that you're going to be happy. You're going to make those around you happier, grateful. You're going to feel grateful because you are going to feel much better. Gratitude, we know that research shows that improves the quality of our life. Living a life with meaning, I was like, you bring so much, like you ignite the energy that Helen is talking about. Like you truly wake up in the morning and you look for those opportunities
Hmm.
to live that moment. So I love it. Thank you so much for sharing. Movement, guys. Let's begin to move, to dance our favorite song, to go for a walk, 10, 20 minutes, baby steps, whatever works for you at this time. But make sure that we're seeking those moments that we feel like we're flourishing. Get
Yes.
our pattern, to go to sleep at a certain time and get up at a certain time, and begin to eat a healthier diet. Like you're saying, just add more. Don't take nothing away. Add a healthy breakfast, add a healthy lunch, and see how you feel.
Yeah. Thank you
And,
for that
and
summary. It's so key.
yes, and then this is just the first pillar, right?
Yeah, because reigniting your energy really truly is a foundation. Without it, nothing else really matters. Because as we know, if we're not healthy, if we don't have the energy, even if we have all these dreams and visions and passions, it's not going to really last. So I can't stress this enough.
Awesome. So what's our second pillar? Could you please, dive more into reframing our story?
Sorry, yes. So we all have these disempowering beliefs and stories about ourselves, unfortunately. Because our brain, as we know, wants to help us just survive, like Paola, you said, not really thrive necessarily, because we're born with this caveman brain, even though we're such evolved beings. So my question to all of us is, how long will you stay held back by these with these disempowering stories and beliefs, like self-doubt, worry, regret, even imposter syndrome, comparisons, and fear of failure, fear of success, all of these procrastination, all of these things that are going to hold you back and keep you from showing up as who you're really trying, how you're really truly designed to be. So I really encourage you to really identify what your disempowering stories and beliefs are about yourself, and really give that name to it. Give it a name. What is it for you? And really disempower that. So crush that, shatter it, and wake up what's inside you, and it'll really completely shift your identity.
Yes, that is beautiful. And here we go. Reframing our story could start with getting to know each other. And a lot of us were carrying labels from our childhood. And that's why, we have this labels that limiting us, because we said, well, my mom, says that I talk too much. Or it could say, well, my aunt always say that, that I laugh too loud. Or, like sometimes we bring labels from our childhood. Sometimes we bring labels that our family tells us, like, yeah, you're nice, but you're very unorganized. Well, are you truly unorganized? And then you're like, well, no, because whenever I know that people are coming to my house, I make sure that my house is immaculate. So no, I'm not really unorganized. It's like I like to have a clean house. Okay, cool. It's like then dive into who you are, because whenever we know who we are,
Yes.
we get to understand our personality. We get to understand our gifts. And whenever we get to understand, who we are, then we get to accept us.
Yes.
Don't you think, Helen? Is like, and whenever we get to accept who we are, and we accept those gifts and those talents that we have, but because of those labels that we grew up with, or maybe we adopted. I mean, as an immigrant, I lived it and I see it. There is a lot of beautiful women out there, Helen, that are so talented
Yes.
and they can do more and serve more, but because they think they don't speak right English, then they stay back and they
Mhm.
play that safe game, which is I'll just stay behind a counter. I'll just stay over here where nobody can see me, and we need them in the workforce to serve, you know, children, to serve other people, to teach at church, to teach in other places, but they don't do it because they're afraid. So they
Mhm.
haven't truly understand who they are yet. They haven't accepted that even with an accent, that even with misspelling, they can still give so much. So that's why I'm going to do this emphasis to all of us out there that don't know you yet, get to know you so that you get to accept you. Whenever you accept yourself, then you see how much potential you have.
Mhm.
No feeding your ego, but with love. You'll be able to see that, oh, wow, I can continue to grow. I can continue to give more to my community, to my family, in a way that you can serve others at a higher level. So,
Yes. Yes. When you said that story, Pal, it reminded me of so English is my second language. And I know that people, when they hear me, they think I was born here. But for the longest time since college, and even when I was working on Wall Street, I always had this self image issue where I'm like, I don't think my English is good enough. I thought I had this Korean accent mixed into it. I know for some words I do, but so what? It doesn't matter. But I had this story going on in my head that okay, it's not good enough, so I don't know if I can talk about this. I don't know if I can give this presentation. But just be aware that it's all a pattern. There's nothing wrong with you. It's just a pattern. Be aware of the pattern that you keep telling yourself that you're not good enough at something or you are lacking something. That is just a pattern. So recognize what your pattern is and get rid of that pattern and ask yourself, what is the identity that you want? Who do you believe you really are? And give that new person a new nickname and keep bringing her up. If you feel like you are not there yet, use someone else as a role model, as your new identity, and bring her or him up into living as the true person that you know you can become.
yes.
So mine is called the Flourishing Trinity. So in the movie Matrix, I love the character Trinity, and also has like a biblical meaning to the Trinity. So I use her as my fierce, my bold, my mission-driven side out when I'm feeling a little bit of a self-doubt and worry and a little bit of anxiety comes in. I bring her out so that I show up as her and use her as my identity. And it's still me. I'm the same person that shows up, but I ignite her into my life so that I can show up as this person.
That's beautiful. Yeah, that's a beautiful way to reframe your story.
Mm-hmm.
Here we go. Remove all those labels that you think, were added to you. Remove those labels and you choose, who you are. And like Helen said, she uses Trinity. Is that her name? Trinity.
Yes, Trinity.
Trinity as, that's the role model. She's gonna use her courage, her love, her kindness. You pick a role model and you try to imitate, those core values, the fruit of the spirits that they're able to express already. And then you look at them and you're like, oh wow, it's like if they can do it, I can. And for now, I'm gonna borrow that courage, the faith, the goodness. So
Yes.
yes, thank you for sharing this. So yeah, so second pillar, begin to reframe your story because you're beautiful. You all are beautiful and we're made for so much more because we have a world to serve, a new generation to serve. They need us, they need those tools that we have learned. They need that guidance, that love, that some of them are numb, so we need to wake them up. So we need you all. So let's let's move on to the flourishing club. So share with us the third pillar, please.
Yes. The third pillar is redesign your life. So what that is really a framework that I learned from Stanford professors, and it's based on design thinking principles. So what that means is it's thinking like a designer. So you know how when people like design, let's say or design an Apple iPhone, they're teams of design are prototyping and thinking about different ways to design something. So it's you can put that similar concept into your life too. So to put it in a simple way, and to do this, all you need to do is just few simple steps. It's just you just need to get curious about your life, and you talk to people about what kind of career, what kind of life that you may want, like the role modeling. Talk to people about different things and see what that might be like, and then try stuff. That's the prototyping part. And then once you try stuff, tell your story. Tell your story of how you experimented it, how you became curious about it, and just putting on that new clothes and see how that is, and then you can then implement and then try to put it into your life.
That is beautiful.
Yeah.
Yes, I love what you're sharing with us. It's like designing our life.
Mm-hmm.
Stop minimizing yourself. Stop minimizing yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Stop this auto criticism. Because we're like you said, we're following the perfectionism standards,
Yeah.
and that is the lowest standard that we can follow because that automatically make us miserable.
Yes.
So stop minimizing yourself. Learn, who you are so that you can accept you, understand you, accept you, and then see how far you can go if
Yes.
that's what you want. Uh, Everything is mechanical. Now that, like you had the curiosity whenever you
Mm-hmm.
stopped working at Wall Street. You said, I want to, you went to the opposite. You went from Wall Street to becoming a beautiful chef, art. You wanted to cook for people, you wanted to serve people at a different level,
Mm-hmm.
and you were curious. It was completely different. And sometimes, I mean, I admire your courage for taking, what I mean? It's like a U-turn type of, like where it's like, I'll just go this way. I'm going to the art side now.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm pretty sure you pour your heart as well as you were learning to cook for other people because you knew that made them happy. So I share this story with the audience again, so that we begin to be curious.
Yes.
It's like, how can I redesign my life
Mm-hmm.
in a way that it's meaningful, in a way that you live with purpose? How can you make the purpose in life that brings you joy and the love and the laughter and the happiness that you're needing?
Mm-hmm.
Another thing is like everything is mechanical. Everything is learnable. You learn and you apply. And at first, I'm pretty sure your cooking wasn't high standards like you expected, right? But it was practicing, learning and practice and putting into practice. And as you continue to cook and learn, I'm pretty sure, those dishes were amazing. Same thing with your coaching.
Yes.
Then you change, then you went from cooking to say, you know what, I'm going to discover a new career.
Mm-hmm.
And you were after. I was like, I don't know. How do you find the purpose? How do you find the courage to say, you know what, I need more in life?
It was really about, like you said, just getting curious and knowing when to stop and start again. And actually, you're not really starting again
Oh,
because you have all the experience that you've had in your past career, past not past life, like past experiences and past life experiences that even if it's a completely new career, you don't even know how many times my Wall Street career helped me in my chefing career. So you're not starting over. So just get curious and think like a designer and just come up with fun and creative ways to just ideate, just write it down, or even like think about it. Close your eyes and just think about it, what an ideal career or an overall life could look like. This is really like the vision part of it, what you really want. And then just and speak to people that are already doing what you're interested in. And then don't be afraid to take action toward it, even if it's just really baby steps. because it's never too late to redesign your life, big or small, regardless of it, regardless of your age. And
Yeah. So
and we all have the autonomy and the agency to design the life that we want.
yeah, find a role model. Here we go again. It's like, I would like to go into this field.
Yeah.
I would like to go back to school. I wonder what would it be like. Let me
Mhm.
talk to someone that has done it. Uh, I want to get my high school degree. It's like, what are the steps?
Mhm.
It could be as simple as maybe, getting a part-time job just to see what it's like to work at a shoe department. Or, it's like only you know your dreams. Only what's available in your area, and you're being curious for so long to be like, I wonder what it's like to work at the bakery. I wonder what it's like at Christmas time to uh, work wrapping papers. I mean, I don't know. We're not extravagant over here. We're just trying to help you stretch your curiosity. We're trying to help you live a purposeful life, a meaningful life. We don't want you to live in the fine club, in the survival mode, because there is more
Yes.
out of life. There's people that are waiting on you to serve at
Hmm.
a higher level.
Yeah. And even practically, social media makes it easier for us because you can find people, for example, on LinkedIn of jobs that you may want. You can literally just message them and ask, "Ooh, can I talk to you for 10 minutes?" It's not asking for a job, just asking what their job is like. No one's going to say no to that. So it's like proactively reaching out to people to find out what that job or career or life could look like.
Yes, getting that feedback that you might need.
Mhm. Exactly.
Okay. As the year ends,
Hmm.
2022, uh, how could we finish this year strong? How could we finish 2022 in a way that we are grateful? This is one of the things that I'm working on posting and helping our people not to compare
Hmm.
to others in a
Yeah.
way that where you bring yourself down. We compare to others only to see what is possible. And some of us, because I've been there before, if you're living in the measurement of perfectionism, and if you didn't finish your goals in 2022, maybe you're already feeling the stress, the sadness, the anger, the anxiety,
Hmm.
disappointment. So, how can we finish this year strong?
Hmm. I want to help us, I want us, all of us, to look at the other side and appreciate and celebrate more. So do a review of 2022. Look at your calendar. Or even something more fun is look at your camera roll on your phone that you took in 2022. Look at it. Like I know like me and my husband take photos all the time. Like when we go out to eat, we take photos of the food. Or when we're just walking around in Manhattan, we just take a photo, even travel or something mundane. Look at your camera and look at all the photos you took in 2022. And don't tell me you're only going to see disappointments and regrets and sad parts. It's going to be, you'll be surprised that you'll find so many awesome and fun things that you've done and that you can celebrate about in 2022 that happened in 2022. So I highly encourage you to look at your camera roll on your phone and to celebrate the smallest things because as our mentor says, success builds on success. And as high performers and top achievers and high achievers, we always want to be harsh on ourselves and let's say, let's go. But that's not going to help you in the long run. And so look at the photos. Me and my husband are going to, at the last few weeks of the year, we're going to actually look at all of our photos together and make it like a day that we celebrate 2022. And it may be our new ritual.
That is so beautiful.
Yeah.
I've always think about doing that for the family, like making a video, like just copy and paste all the pictures and then
Yeah.
just we'll put music in the background and show my kids and my husband. I haven't got to do that yet, but that is so beautiful. Like
Yeah.
for our audience, yes, it's like go look at your pictures from January, February. Now it's so easy with
Exactly.
our smartphones.
Yeah, exactly. Pao, like what you said, that making the slideshow, that's awesome idea. But that may take too long. It may be like the perfectionist of you talking.
Yeah.
So just look at your phone together, or even like I know you can cast your phone to your TV now, right? So you can just look at your phone through the camera roll through your TV as a one of the nights with all of your family. That might be a fun idea.
Yes, because we all have, tradition, it could be birthdays, what birthday, what do we do on, your husband's birthday or one of your children's
Right.
birthday or your mom or, I mean, it's like, how do you guys celebrate it? What was the funniest thing about it? So
Hmm.
yes, pictures speak, our experiences. So that's a beautiful advice. So I
Yes.
hope you all are listening, and it's a beautiful way for us to see and celebrate, because when we celebrate and we truly celebrate, when we feel the celebration, your brain will say, I like that feeling and I want more of it.
Hmm.
And we train our, that's what neuroencoding is. You reprogram your nervous system to celebrate more. So the more you celebrate, your brain will ask for more celebrations, and
Yes.
celebrations lead to fulfillment. Like you are glad, you're happy, you're celebrate that moment. So
Hmm.
yes, I'm glad you
Yes.
shared that with our beautiful
Yes.
audience.
And if any of you listening or watching are feeling the guilt or disappointment of not accomplishing your goals this year, I want you to do. I heard this quote recently. It said, "If you want to make God laugh, show him your plan." So instead of being sad or frustrated that your plan didn't go as planned, if or your year didn't go as planned in 2022, what can you learn from 2022? And what meaning will you give to your 2022? And there's no need to dwell in guilt, disappointment, or regret, and because no good can come from it. And instead, stand up, interrupt your pattern, and make a decision for yourself today what you'll celebrate, big or small. And who will you become? Like, what is that I am statement that you want to create for 2023 and beyond? Like, who do you want to show up consistently in 2023? Is there an outcome? Is there a goal that you want? I know that so many people have goals, like big goals, and I challenge you to think about that goal differently. So everyone, like for example, people want to have like an outcome goal. Instead, think about like a process goal, meaning let's say you want to run a marathon. Instead of running a marathon as your outcome goal, what about getting up and running for 20 minutes every day as your goal in 2023? How will that change your life? So it's the little things that we do consistently that will change our trajectory of our lives. So in 2023, what is that one or two or three things max that you can do consistently every day that will change the way you want your life to be and also become the person that you know you can be?
Awesome. Yes, I love that. Become the person that you can be. Absolutely. And I love what you said is like reframe your questions, whenever you begin to feel disappointed because you didn't, buy the bigger house, buy the new car, whatever your goal was that you wanted to achieve in 2022, reframe those questions, because whenever we begin to ask, well, why am I not so lucky? Then your brain will automatically tell you why you're not so lucky. And that's upsetting sometimes. It just brings the higher level of sadness and disappointment. But whenever we say, how am I so blessed this year?
Mm-hmm.
Like, how did I improve? What went well this year? Then your brain will give you the right answers that is going to make you feel, you know, that you did something great this year. It's like, what are your blessings of the year? And then gratitude will kick in. How uh, did you improve in your marriage? How did you improve in your professional life? What went well with your children? What are we grateful for? So when we learn to change questions that we ask ourselves, the whole story that we're telling ourselves changes in a better way, in a way that we are truly expressing. the fruits of the spirit, that we're truly expressing those beautiful core values that in reality we choose to live with, but sometimes our mind trick us. And we can have a different show about how to interrupt our, our negative thoughts, Helen, because I know you're awesome at it. But it's like this year is one of my biggest takeaway. It was like, oh, it was the big aha moment where it's like, okay, what questions am I asking myself? And it's like, oh, I'm asking the wrong questions. And even though I've been in this self-development journey for about 4 years,
Mm-hmm.
I still learn. And I was like, oh, wow. It's like I was asking myself the wrong question. And because of it, I was getting the wrong answers. And because of the wrong answers, I was getting the wrong emotions.
Yes. Speaking of question, as you know, we all have this primary question that we ask ourselves, whether or not we know it or not. So I discovered last week that mine was, what are people thinking of me? So that caused me to show up as a timid person, even though I'm totally not. And it caused me to second guess myself. It caused me to always wonder what the other person is thinking. So I was always like not being myself. So I was able to now change my primary question to, how can I show up as my awesome self even more right now?
Awesome.
So
I
when I
love
did
that.
that, just my whole view of life changed. I no longer have to be so concerned about what other people think. Of course, that still exists because it's not just going to go away right away, but it has diminished so much of my self-doubt, worry, and like showing up timidly and being afraid to be on camera for my social media channels, to because I'm doing it to impact the clients that I'm going to help. It's not for me or for my ego. And I realize that if I can show up as my awesome self every day, I can do more good and more impact.
Awesome. That's beautiful. Anybody in our audience that is ready for that, is ready to take the action to create your primary question, we invite you to do so. Like Helen said, how can I be so awesome today? I don't remember. Can you repeat your primary question? Can
How
you
can I
repeat your primary?
how can I show up as my awesome self even more right now?
Beautiful. Yeah. Choose a primary question that is going to serve you, that is going to allow you to grow. That's going to allow you to express, the beautiful fruits of the spirit, your core values. And that is only going to lead you to live a more, meaningful life. So if you're ready for that, create that primary question for 2023. Begin to practice it now. So whenever 2023 arrives, then you're ready to take off with it. It's a way for us to be aware. Like whenever those negative thoughts kicked in, you're like, no, 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 no. This is my primary question. This is what I stand, you know, by every day. Like this going to trigger me to go back into reignite my energy, right? Reignite energy to reframe your story and to redesign your life. So, what beautiful three pillars that you share with us today for us to finish the year as well, right? If we're having self doubt of what we didn't accomplish, how can I reignite my energy? Please, please take notes. How can you reignite your energy? And Helen said, by eating healthy, by moving, by sleeping better, we can reignite the energy and be aware, and then reframe your story. Get to know you. Stop saying poor me, I'm not lucky. Like, nah, let's forget that.
Stop.
Let's reframe. Let's reframe a beautiful story that is going to serve you and help you show up, you know, better level, a better version of yourself where you can serve others
Mhm.
with your heart and redesign your life. Be curious. What do you want? Remember that everything is mechanical. This show did not start it yesterday. I wasn't born giving interviews. It's like I had to learn. It was challenging, and I'm still, learning. But I know that it's mechanical. I know that the more I do it, the better I'll be able to serve you all.
Mhm.
So remember that, Helen's story, Wall Street
Yes.
chef. Now she's a beautiful high performance coach that help women in their profession. So I hope this beautiful conversation added value to your life today. So please share with us, how can we find you, Helen?
Yes. So I just wanted to say that it was a long 7-year journey from saying I'm fine to knowing that I'm flourishing. And so now in my 40s, I can proudly say that I've definitely left the I'm Fine Club and I know I'm never going back. And I'm so grateful now to for my new career as a coach, where I can share my mess as a message to encourage, guide, and empower other high achieving professional women to flourish. So you can find me at www.helenleemoon.com. And I'm on social media on Instagram and LinkedIn. And
Thank you.
for any of you that are listening to me right now, if you go to my website, I'll offer you a 30-minute free laser coaching session. So if anyone's
Yeah.
listening, just schedule a call with me. I'll be happy to get you and kickstart you from going just being from fine to flourishing.
That is awesome. Yay, thank you. Okay, share. I'm gonna share your website and my YouTube channel whenever we post this video, this interview. So please, if you know anybody that can benefit from this information, share the video, share our, give us your feedback. Let me know what will help you to better your life for 2023.
Yes.
Thank you all so much for being here, for listening to us. I hope you found a word, a phrase, that you can implement into your life to live a more empowering 2023. So remember that it is you who give power to your talents. You have beautiful talents, and it is only you who give life to your dreams. So thank you all so much. Remember that this show can also be heard on Spanglish Radio Network. Please check out spanglishworld.ca for all news and programming. Thank you, Helen, for being here today. I so
Thank
appreciate your
you.
time.
Remember, life is too short to settle for just being fine. We can all flourish together.
Yes. So Spanglish World, watch it, hear it, read it, download it, and live it. Blessings to you all, and we'll see you